So, Arwen, you were at Dante's uncle's villa, doing your best to do some training work with Amicus, who, when you arrived, you're not sure who had caused more damage to the house, Murgatroyd or Amicus, but the house was in very rough shape. Lots of cushions ripped open and things like that. The carpet was peed on, which, once again, could be either Amicus or Murgatroyd. And you're just spending your time at the house, training the dog. You took the dog out into the yard and training, do some stuff. And that evening, you find a very nice bottle of elven wine, perhaps, and you're chillaxing in the house. Finally, when Amicus is curled up in front of the fireplace to go to sleep, and you just catch a moment where you can finally relax as you wait for the rest of your crew to rejoin you at Dante's uncle's villa, when out of nowhere, you didn't even see it coming, a figure steps from the shadow in the room and says to you, I guess he would just come right out. So he steps from the shadows in the room and he says to you, "Where's my money?"
Am I supposed to respond to that?
Yes.
Oh. What money?
That'd be a great response to somebody who asks that question.
You say, "What money?" And he kind of, tilts his head to the side a little bit with a crooked smile, and he says, "Ooh, wrong answer." And the house is swarmed by pirates. You leap from your chair and grab your bow, and you're able to dispatch several of them, but you're just completely overwhelmed, swarmed, and at one point you're separated from... As soon as the attack comes, Amicus leaps into action, barking and yelping and things like that. And at one point, Amicus goes down after one of them slashes him across the back, the hips with a sword. And seeing Amicus wounded like that, you are distracted and let down your guard for just a moment to be sapped, and you are knocked unconscious. When you wake up, you come to very suddenly. Your hands are tied together, and they are tied to a wooden rafter above you. You are in the dark.
Is Amicus there?
No. It smells like dirty water.
I'm tied with rope?
Yes.
Can I get the knots out?
You struggle and wring your wrists together, but it's quite tight. Would you like to try and muscle your way out, or try and work at the knots with your teeth and your fingers?
Teeth and fingers.
Yeah, all right. Then that is a thievery check. Excellent. You work the rope loose between your wrists and go to bite it, and you're like, oh, this rope tastes like tar and dirty water. And as you're going at it for quite some time, you're able to get the rope untied and free yourself. By this point, your eyes have adjusted to the dark, and you see that you are in what appears to be the bottom of a ship. You're familiar enough with ocean-going vessels as you have traveled between continents. So you are below decks on a ship. There's very slight rocking, so you're not like underway or anything like that. And you think you can hear just the sounds of low talking in the distance. Also, you don't have any of your armor on. You've been stripped down to just your underclothes. So you're like your cotton breeches and no boots, and your cotton tunic. It's just a shirt and pants that you wear underneath your armor.
Okay, I'm gonna look for a way out of the room that I'm in.
All right, you kind of feel around in the dark with a little bit that your eyes have become adjusted and your elvish low-light vision. You're able to catch the slight glints and stuff off of what could be metal, and your hands find a shutter, which opens to reveal a porthole. Now, you are pretty slight of frame. I think, what's your strength?
14?
14. Yeah. So you're strong but wiry. So I'm going to say that with a successful dex check of DC 13, you'd be able to wriggle through this larger porthole here.
Does the porthole go to the outside, like to the water?
It does. And you can see that outside this porthole, there's a little bit of water, but mostly what you see is dock, which is, you can reach your hand through the porthole and touch the dock. So this ship is still tied up at dock.
Is there another way out? Because I would rather go look for my armor and amicus.
Excellent. So yes, now that the porthole is open and admits some of the torchlight from the dock, you can see the room much clearer, and there is in fact a door, a wooden hatch in the bulkhead.
Okay, I'm gonna have to see if the door is unlocked, but I'm gonna try and do it quietly just in case there's someone on the other side.
Excellent. Make a stealth check, please. Beauty. Yes, you sneak over to the door and give it a tentative push, and it gives a little bit of the way, but then stops. And through the faint crack in the door, you can see that there is a wooden bar that goes across.
Am I able to move the wooden bar?
No, the crack, you're able to open the door a little bit, but the crack is too small for your fingers. You're trying to push your fingers through the crack, but it's still too narrow. You'd have to have some kind of tool.
Yeah, I'm gonna examine the room and look for something that might fit through the hole.
All right, the room is pretty Spartan. It looks like it has been cleared out just to accommodate prisoners. So there's some rope, there's a few shackles as well, but they lie kind of open, and they're like big, thick iron, as well as the chain is iron. Several of them, the locking mechanisms look rusted out, so it's probably why you were tied up instead of shackled. And the rope is the only thing that was tying you up that could be skinny enough to fit through the crack.
Can I bust through the door?
That's quite possible. I'm going to say, would you like to just like body check and muscle the door, or do you want to start kicking and punching it and see if you can do enough damage to break the bar? If you want to try and muscle it, it's going to be like a strength check, DC, I'm going to say DC 18, or you have to do this much damage to the door to break it open. This much being a number I'm writing down on a piece of paper.
I figured. I would probably go with trying to kick the door. Well, no, maybe we'll try a body check, and if that doesn't work, I might switch to kicking.
All right.
So that was strength?
Yep, strength check. So D20 plus strength mod plus half level. You heave your weight against the door, but unfortunately a little uneasy on your feet because of the rocking motion of the boat. You are unsuccessful in breaking down the door, and now you can hear a voice on the other side of the door kind of started into wakefulness, like, huh, what? She's up, she's gotten free.
Oh, crap, I was hoping there was no one there. All right, we're going to kick the door until it opens and try to incapacitate him.
All right, so punching is a D4, and so I'm going to say, just like GURPS and rules, kicking is also a D4, but plus 1. So D4 plus strength, you just roll your damage. So roll a D4 plus 1 plus your strength modifier.
Just a sec.
Okie doke. Beauty, 6 points of damage. All right, your first kick causes some of the door to buckle and splinter, and then you can hear the voice on the side say, I guess, who would the pirates pray to? The god of the sea, Brassai, like, Brassai! Like, oh my god, quick, you boys, get over here.
All right, kick it again.
All right, 5 points of damage. You've kicked away one of the bottom boards of the hatch. It splinters open, and you can see the warm orange light from lamp light on the other side spill through. And you can see some like nervous feet stomping around, and then you see the shape of like a barrel or something being rolled in front of the door. Go again.
I guess we'll try one more.
All right. 4. Oh, that's unfortunate. Minimum damage. Oh, yeah. So that kick, you heard the bar splintering and the ping as a nail comes flying out of the woodwork. One more good boot, and you're pretty sure you can break this door right off of its hinges. And you can see the surprised faces of a guy on the other side of the door, unsteadily holding a cudgel.
All right, one more.
Beauty. All right, so your last kick, it smashes the top hinge right off the wall, and the door bends around the bottom hinge and opens, but you can see that they have stacked a barrel and some other stuff in front, so the door kind of only falls halfway, meaning that there's now like a 2 foot by 2 foot, a little bit more, so like a 3 foot by 3 foot opening as the top of the door is open, but the bottom is like a crude ramp as the door has fallen onto this barrel. One of the guys says, "Oh, she's loose. Run and tell O'Neill." And one of there's three figures in there, three pirate dudes, and one of them turns and sprints up a wooden ladder. The other two kind of raise their cudgels and they say, now stay back.
What's a cudgel?
It's like a wooden bat, a short wooden bat. Also, the one who ran is human, and the other two are orcs.
All right, well, I guess I'm going to dive through the opening, all elf style, and try to take out those two guys.
Excellent. Acrobatics check, please. DC 13. That is unfortunate. So you...
Wait. I have something that bumps that up. I just forget what it is. Just one sec. It's like something that makes a 1 to 7 roll an 8.
Oh, yeah, one of your feats.
Just having trouble locating it.
That's all right, I believe you. So if it makes it into an 8, then that would be a 13, which is right on. So you get through the hole. It's a little awkward, and you bump your hip, bruising it a little bit, take 1 point of damage, but you're on your feet, and you're standing between these two guys. Roll for initiative, please. 19, you go first.
What is their positioning in accordance to me?
Right next to you.
Can I hit both of them, one with each hand? Are they close enough?
Yes, you can hit both of them, one with each hand. But your offhand will be -2. Your main hand will be -2, and your offhand will be -4.
All right, I'll try to hit whoever's closest to me. Actually, can I try to grapple one of them for their whatever weapon they have?
The cudgel, the little wooden club. Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
That's what I'd like to do.
So initiate a grapple, which is strength mod plus half level versus his reflex. Oh yeah, you definitely grab. So you've got like one hand on the bat and the other hand around that guy's throat. And his eyes open really wide and surprised at how fast you're able to move.
All right, so if I get the bat, or the cudgel, sorry. I'm going to attempt to knock him out by hitting him on the back of his head, I guess.
All right, if you want to... yeah, that's fine. Just make a basic melee attack with the club.
How do I do that?
It's like strength mod plus half level, and then I think that club has a weapon proficiency of 2, and being a paladin, you're trained in how to use clubs. So strength mod plus half level plus 2.
All right, so I'll just roll the strength plus half level because there's a button for that, and then we'll add 2 to it.
Sounds good. 11's enough. Sure. I have additional rules for grappling, and so when you're doing a strike against a grappled opponent, you have combat advantage anyway. So you pull him closer by the trachea and whop him on the top of his head with the club, and his eyes kind of cross, and he drops to his knees and looks like he's about to fall unconscious. The other guy will attempt to buff you with the club in his hand, and that's a 16 against your AC.
I think it's 20, but just one sec.
Is that without your armor?
Oh, no, that's with armor. Hold on. It's 22. Armor is 8. So 14?
14, all right, so that's a hit. Take 2 points of damage as you bring up your forearm to block because you're used to having some plate mail on there, but he cracks you right in the elbow.
Okay.
And then it's your turn.
Oh, same thing. I'm going to whack him with the thing that I still can't remember what it's called.
Club. You can just say club.
Good.
Oh, club is good. So hold on, I'll roll him.
Thank you.
Rolling with the club.
Excellent. Yeah. So you after the shaking wound to your arm, you drop it down and just bring the club straight into the bridge of that guy's nose. You hear a crack, and blood splurts out of one nostril as he goes, "Oh!" and he grabs his face and falls to his butt. And he just, kind of curls up in the fetal position, clutching his face.
Hey, I search for my armor and my bow and my wolf.
All of your equipment, armor and bow and everything, you can see sitting in a sack that's right there. Right by
Can I put it on and arm myself?
That's going to take some time to put your armor on. Minutes, right? Maybe as much as 20 minutes to half an hour to fully get into your plate mail armor, right? Because you got to do up all the buckles and everything.
All right, I grabbed the bag, but I'm going to at least get my bow ready.
Okay.
And I guess I'm going to look for Amicus.
You do not see any sign of Amicus.
Have I checked the entire boat? Is there anywhere he might be that I haven't looked?
There seems to be only 2 low rooms here, and there's the room you came out of, this room, and then there's a ladder that goes up.
Well,
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Crystal. You were cutting in and out there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go up the ladder.
All right, you run up the ladder onto the deck, where you can see another young orc pirate dressed as, in sailing pirate garb, and he has a club as well and a gaff hook in one hand. And he kind of looks at you now standing there with your bow, looking very, very angry, and he just jumps over the side of the boat.
That's what I was hoping for. All right, I'm going to search the top level, and if I can't find Amicus, I'm just going to skedaddle, I guess.
All right, you do a quick cursory glance around the top level and the little whistle that you've been using to call Amicus, but there's no response. And you can hear the sounds of shouting and approaching footsteps from the further down the dock, where you can see in a pool of light outside of one of the grog houses a bunch of similarly clad pirates, all kind of spilling out of the house, out of the tavern, and you quick-foot it out of there across the docks and up into the town, avoiding their notice.
Okay, I'm going to head back to where we were, because Amicus is injured, and I hope they just left him there and that he's still alive.
Excellent. So you're running up the streets back towards Dante's uncle's villa, and as you are running up the street and approaching it, you can see coming out of the main gate the rest of the party, and one of them, I don't remember who, I think it's Jack, has Amicus in his arms.
No, I do not.
Oh, who's carrying Amicus?
Not me.
Sad face.
I've been looking after our coke recovering fiend.
Someone had Amicus. Someone was carrying the dog.
If I remember correctly, it was the widow and I who had gone back to the house, and the rest of the party is in the loofah sponge mines with the king.
Oh yes, good memory. So in that case, it's the widow who has Amicus.
Okay.
There's a strange, older but still very strong-looking, wire-haired woman, and standing next to Elliot, and she has Amicus. You can see Amicus. The back half of him is covered in blood, but his head is kind of lifted up and licking the face of the woman who's carrying him. And Elliot and Amicus both look a little panicked.
All right, well, first I'm going to run over and lay hands on Amicus and heal him.
All right, you run over, and the older woman quickly steps behind Elliot, and she says, "Look out, there's more of them."
No. She's with us.
Excellent. All right. In that case, she stands still and lets you lay hands on Amicus, whose wound is not serious, but big enough that it was, producing a lot of blood. So you step forward, and it only takes about 2 HP to close up the wound that was across his back hip. And as soon as you do, Amicus kind of struggles out of this woman's arm. She drops him in, and then Amicus puts paws up on you and starts trying to lick your face.
I'll hand Arwen her bow back. It was in the
That's right. I
manor.
forgot the bow was in the manor as well.
Oh, so I didn't have it. I felt very confident with that bow.
That's my bad.
It's okay. Wait, we can just retcon it.
It doesn't really matter.
No.
The point is that she was able to escape. Just that I couldn't have the pirates show up at the house and her be the only one there and nothing happen.
No, I get you.
All right, well, I'm going to give you a hearty handshake for retrieving my bow.
No sweat. So where? What happened?
Well, I was just training Amicus, and a bunch of people barged in. Well, actually, one person first came in and was looking for money for something, and then when I didn't know about it, a bunch of people barged in, and they overwhelmed me, and I'm
gonna describe the guy that I met with, and does that description match what you saw? So he would have been like all dressed in black, and I don't remember. I don't think you described his facial characteristics, but I'll describe like the way in which he looked like a knifey sort of fighter, all dressed in black with leather armor and accoutrements.
Yeah, same guy.
Cool. Okay, well, yeah, that was him. That's the guy. He's from the Leviathan. So when you were captured, you came off the Leviathan and came out here? Arwen? Well, anyways, I'll relay to the widow that, yes, these guys, they came looking for the money to assassinate the king. We were hoping that you would witness the kind of the exchange happening, but looks like they got the drop on us, kidnapped Arwen, and are moored in the harbor, which is that's surprising. No, she probably wasn't on the Leviathan. If she would have described the boat, would I have recognized it as one of the schooners or the Leviathan, John?
Much smaller. It's not the Leviathan, but it was bigger than the little sloop that the one guy you met on. This ship was, say, big enough for, I don't know, 30 people to travel on.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to send a note through the bag of holding to Murgatroyd and whoever else is there, and say we have the opportunity. We can maybe snag one of the schooners right now and make our way towards the docks. See if we can't commandeer one of those schooners. So I'll tell Murgatroyd to come and meet us at the docks and ask if there's a. Oh, I bet the king could hide out at the widow's place. I'll ask the widow if the king would theoretically be safe there.
She's kind of looking around at the destruction that's been wrought upon Dante's uncle's villa, and she looks back at you, and you can sense reluctance. But then she says, for the king, yes.
Ideally, he'll have like a place where he can. Ideally, he'll have a place where he knows where to hide and stay safe. But if we don't have anything like that,
she says, "I understand. Let's do it."
So I'll also send that message through to Murgatroyd and ask if the king has anywhere safe that he knows to be. He can stay at the widow Grace Vance, or hold on, Grace Nash.
Murgatroyd?
I'll head over, or I guess I'll send a message saying on the way.
Any word from the king?
The king says that's fine. That's probably a good idea. He does not want to go down to the docks.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
So I'll be like, he's not coming.
Well, he'll go to the Nash house, right?
Yeah, he'll go to the Nash house. Now, do you want to meet them at the Nash house, or do you want to race down to the docks, in which case you guys will arrive there before Murgatroyd, Vince, and Jack?
Yeah, I want to go down to the docks because we want to catch a glimpse of the royal advisor if he's not already on the Leviathan. Ideally, we're going to spot him like meeting with a Leviathan rep at some pub or something.
Okay, so Elliot, Arwen, and the Widow Nash hightail it down to the docks. I guess Arwen kind of gets dressed as she's going, which makes the proceedings a little bit slower and much noisier.
Arwen could just meet us there.
That's true. Let's see. Actually, that's a good. While Crystal's rebooting her computer, that's a good idea. So Arwen says that she feels naked without her armor on, so she takes a moment to redress herself in her full plate. So Elliot and the Widow Nash run down to the docks, and you arrive at the docks just in time to see them pulling up the gangplank on a small schooner that has red sails with a mixed race crew aboard it.
Damn.
The sails begin to unfurl and set as they are pushing off from the dock. Actually, they start by... yeah, that's fine.
Damn. Ask her if she recognizes the boat and explain that that's one of the Leviathan schooners.
She says, yes, I've seen these ships with the red sails around. They spell trouble for Loofah. She said, this is what I expected when you said that the Leviathan was involved in a plot to kill the king. It has been quite some time since one of these larger ships, and she gestures towards the schooners, has been actually come into port here at Loofah. They've been keeping a distance for the last month or so. She said, you must be very important for them to come in to deal with you and your friends.
Well, it's the king, right? They thought the money was changing hands tonight.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah, you set up a deal to pose as the.
Yeah, that's why all the complications happened, is because we set up this fake deal to entrap them, and then the real money came in, so we tried to use that, but we kind of got overwhelmed by the well, you understand.
She says, I do. And she gives you a little bit of a quizzical look. Ever since she said you set up to pretend to be the one hiring the assassins.
Right.
She's been giving you a bit of a...
I understand how this, how it could look. But the difficulty here is, we were hoping that you would witness the money changing hands between whoever it is, whether it's the advisor or not. I don't know. I don't have anything to not incriminate me because, I mean, there's no evidence either way, unfortunately.
At that moment, Murgatroyd and Jack kind of run up, huffing a little bit out of breath, but they're arrived. Oh, and so did Arwen.
Excellent.
Maybe if Crystal's back on Mumble too. We'll see.
Yes, I am. Sorry, guys.
Terrific.
It happens.
I'll introduce them and say we missed the schooner. And it seems like we missed our opportunity to get to catch the money changing hands. Unfortunately, kind of feel like I really dropped the ball on my organization of the stakeout. But at least the king is safe. So it seems like, at least for now, Grace, that you we don't have any we don't have anything for you to witness at this time. If you want to continue to tag along with us, that's fine. Otherwise, I can, we'll reach you when we have a better idea of what's gonna happen. Jeez, sorry about this, guys. There was too much to deal with.
Certainly, a lot has happened. Grace says, and she said, and I do enjoy a bit of adventure. However, following you around, hoping to witness something, is not perhaps the best use of my time.
I agree.
Yes, we factor that you put your armor on. She says, very well then, Mr. I forget what fake name you gave her.
Stotch.
You gave her so many. That's right, Stotch. Very well, Mr. Stotch, you know where to find me. She takes her leave.
So the king is there already?
Yeah, the king's at her house, so that's one of the other reasons why she's taking her leave right now, so she can go and visit the king in her house.
Can we leave Hatim there guarding the king?
Yes.
Cool. All right, guys. Yeah. So we don't know where. Well, the advisor is more than likely on the Leviathan, where they're figuring out that someone is onto the scheme, which means they'll probably either reorganize or just force the hand. But now that the king is not there, they don't know where he is. The royal advisor might try and spin that as like he's abandoning the kingdom. So I feel like whatever happens, we got to make something happen fast. So we were here. You were here last time when the guy from the Leviathan showed up, and we found out that there was a plot to kill the king.
Yes, I was here. I just missed the last session.
Right. Okay. So we said like 48 hours, and our plan was to interrogate that guy and find out what we could, but we didn't know that he was going to come back with like a massive force of guys. We didn't know that they were going to. So we saw like a ton of assassins all throughout the city. So it seems like he brought a ton of people with him to go to the house, and you were there by yourself. I didn't expect that. And so they captured you, and there was a ton of guys in place. So we grabbed the king and his wife, and they are in hiding in safety right now.
Okay, so because of that, you think that they're onto us, or you know for sure that they know something's up?
They know for sure something's up. Like the king is not to be found, and neither is his wife. The place looks like their room looks like it was ransacked, because it was. They grabbed, all of their important things, like they've got their royal seal and, deeds to the castle and stuff. So it looks like he was either kidnapped or has run off. And the royal advisor, being the dick that he is going to try and spin that. Oh, I've got a phone call. Hold on, I have to take this, sorry.
Are you there, Jay?
So they don't know that we had anything to do with the king's disappearance?
Yeah, anyone in the castle would, because they saw you guys hustling the king out of there.
Gotcha.
Did we ever actually meet back up with them?
Meet back up with whom?
Elliot and so on?
Yes, you've just reunited with them. You left the king and queen at the widow Nash's house and ran down to the docks to meet up with Elliot and Arwen.
Okay.
So the party's all back together again.
Okay.
Except Murgatroyd, for some reason. You look around and Murgatroyd's nowhere to be seen. Make a perception check, please.
Who?
Anyone. Oh, Jack nailed it. So yeah, you look around like where's Murgatroyd, and then you look over to one of the fancier restaurants and pubs that's down here on the waterfront. That has a big sign out front that says fresh lobster and all that. And you can see Murgatroyd kind of peeking in the windows hungrily.
Oh, there he is. I'm going to go over, see if I can entice him over. Maybe we can get him a lobster tail to go.
If I see him coming up to me, I'll just point out the advisor guy in the restaurant that I'm peeking.
All right. Murgatroyd points through the window, and you can see the advisor's aide, Greco, and the fancy lady, Miss Lafayette, who you witnessed getting off of the wagon coming from Purell. And they are both inside, sitting at a table with another very opulently dressed gentleman in like a blue and purple suit coat. Very expensive dye colors and very expensive looking clothing. And the table has got several bottles of champagne in ice, which is expensive and hard to get. And there are lobsters, and it's just very, very fancy looking spread all over the table. And the woman has sitting next to the very well dressed man, and he whispers something to her, which she smiles and does a laugh where she clutch the pearls kind of laugh, and then reaches over and touches his arm, which makes him smile, and he orders the waiter over to bring them some more stuff. There's more paper.
Is this just Murgatroyd? Is this just you, Jay, that's seeing all this?
I pointed what was going on to Jack.
Yeah, it's Murgatroyd and Jack. And as Jack, you're kind of seeing that. Murgatroyd, what you're seeing is this very fancy gentleman. There's two very obvious bodyguards standing right behind him, but your practice eye also picks out another two or three fellas that are, trying to inconspicuously stand around this restaurant that are obviously the same type of bodyguard.
We can get you lobster tail later. And I'm gonna try to tug them off towards the others, as in, like, let's go grab them.
I'll stay here and keep an eye on them, make sure they don't move.
I throw up my hands in apparent annoyance and head back to the crew.
All right, Jack, you throw up your hands and step away from the large window in front of this fancy restaurant. Just as a fellow kind of comes from the kitchen with a broom in his hand, held kind of like a bit of a weapon, as though he's come to shoo you away. And as he sees you walking away, you see there's a visible sag in him, like, oh, thank God, he left without me having to shoo him away with this broom. When
Jack returns, he's going through the front window.
All right, Jack, you walk it's not far, maybe 150 yards down the dock back towards where the rest of the crew is hanging out. And Murgatroyd, just as Jack kind of gets out of hearing range from inside, a bit of music strikes up, and your attention is drawn back into the restaurant, where the very fancy-looking gentleman turns to a servant or an assistant that he's got with him, and the assistant goes down on... Oh, I just lost everybody from Roll20. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
The assistant goes down on one knee, and the rich gentleman reaches over and puts a velvet box in the assistant's hand, who then opens it and offers the fancy lady a sparkling diamond ring, to which she smiles and nods yes. And the rich man picks the ring out of the box and slips it onto the woman's finger, who then hugs and kisses the rich man. And everyone kind of applauds.
Murgatroyd's gonna barf. Just a little. On the windowsill. Just like,
All right. You. So at that moment, a a fancy dressed gentleman with a pencil mustache kind of steps out the front door, and he says, "Can I help you, sir?" Looking down his pointy nose at you.
I'll be like, I'm the jewelry inspector. That's a nice rock in there. Can I go take a look?
He kind of mirthlessly laughs. Yes, he says, if you are looking for an adventurer's tavern, he kind of gives you the up and down look. He said, might I suggest the Drenched Wench? And he gestures down to the pub where Valhalla was rocking out the other night. That is perhaps an establishment that is more to your type.
Am I back to the crew yet?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to relay to them. The aid man and rich lady we saw earlier is at that fancy place, and Murgatroyd is watching.
Oh, snap. Good thing I sent the widow away already. I'll head on over to the... Is this place like 2 stories?
No. It's like a story and a half, but it's just one big restaurant with high ceilings.
Gotcha. I'll head over and make sure I'm looking presentable and act like I'm not with Murgatroyd, and just kind of nod at the guy and approach the maitre d', look for a table.
Jack is going to see if he can slip around the backside, like around by the back kitchen door, and say, but stay out of sight so that he can hear what's going on, but the kitchen guy isn't going to come out and beat him with a broom.
All right, Jack, are you attempting to be stealthy, or are you attempting to just use your skill in urban environments to just stay out of sight? So I guess it's either going to be a stealth check or a streetwise check.
I'm going to attempt to be streetwise.
All right, make a streetwise roll, please.
If-
All right, so yeah, you throw your hood up to try and disguise yourself as best you can, although your big horns make it a little difficult. But you kind of stick to the shadows and keep behind certain alleyways and dumpsters. It's going to take you a bit, but eventually you'll get to behind the restaurant. Elliot, okay? Sorry. Go ahead.
If I can, before, instead of just like bolting from the group, I'll say like, I'm gonna check out what's going on in here, keep an eye out for the assassins, and we'll meet back here in 30.
Jack
Agreed.
checks.
Did you say-
Look at his fingers and be like, it's gonna be a problem.
All right, Murgatroyd.
What's gonna be a problem? Doesn't matter.
Only count to 10.
Oh, right.
We have to remove the boots.
And then pop off.
I don't know how
Vincent's
many are there,
boots.
so it's gonna be a mystery.
Can't you just count to 10 3 times?
Whoa.
What? That's mind freak right there.
Is 33 tens?
My bad, forget it.
All right, let's go.
All right, Murgatroyd, you look up and you see Elliot walking towards you. He activates the magic on his clothing to remove all the dust and everything, so he looks a little bit more presentable. And changes the hitch on his knife belt to secure the blade up underneath the folds of his jacket, and looks a little bit more dapper and a lot less adventurer. When he's about 30 yards away, you glance back into the restaurant and see the very rich man kind of stands up from the table and shakes Greco's hand. Greco smiles and is like, bowing, and his body language is saying, okay, well, I'll give you to your space now. And he takes 2 steps away from the table, where he's met by the assistant that was down on one knee, who hands him a leather folder. So it's like... a leather envelope that is about, it's envelope sized anyway. Hands it to him, And the assistant smiles and tucks it in an inside pocket, and then starts to head towards the front door. And then you look back, and Elliot's maybe 10 yards away, and that it looks like both Elliot and that guy are going to get to the front door at the same time.
I'm gonna like do a head, not nod, but like trying to point a direction with my head about the guy while I'm, I guess, trying to deal with the guy with the pointy nose looking down at me.
Sorry, who are you pointing to? The opulent guy or the...
No, the guy like kind of pointing towards the front door. I mean, like the guy.
Right. So the maitre d' has turned to look into the restaurant as well at the sound of the merriment. Elliot continues to walk towards you, kind of giving you a confused look and like mouthing like, "Who?" And you're giving him the old nod, like, "No, not that nod. This nod. This nod." And Elliot reaches you just as you can see Greco about to step through the door. You have mere seconds to try and do something.
Can I just collide? Yep, my mic was down. Okay. Bad cable. I'll swap that out. I'd just like to collide with Greco and attempt like a thievery check to go through his pockets real quick, Like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to walk right into you," and do that, like, walk into him with force so he's knocked kind of off balance, and I grab him to kind of pull him up to his feet and to steady myself and rifle through his like breast pockets where you would put something very important.
Okay, excellent. Yes, you make a thievery check versus his perception.
Okay, I'm going to use my thief gloves to add +2 to this.
And you're at -2 because of your chosen specialty, right?
Yeah, that's factored into my macros.
Nice.
Ooh, nice. So 22.
Oh, 22. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Excellent.
Yeah.
Yes, you are able to filch the leather envelope out of his pocket while he's momentarily distracted and taken aback at first, like, "Oh, you clumsy oaf." And then he looks at you and he's like, "You." He said, "I should have known." And he turns back to the maitre d' and he says, "You would do well to keep this riffraff from your establishment," as he kind of, straightens out his jacket and adjusts his tie. And then he fixes his hair where it became slightly out of place during the bumping.
Mind how you go.
He just gives you a little snort and turns and starts walking up the street with his head held high and a very cocksure swagger to his shoulders. And the maitre d' turns to you and says, "I'm sorry, gentlemen, we are at capacity for the evening. You will have to find someplace else to dine."
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. We didn't want to eat here anyways. Come on, Murgatroyd. We'll throw up in some other bathroom.
Sounds good.
Good one. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to go back and gather up with the troops and very discreetly check this leather envelope out.
All right. When you get back there, Jack hasn't returned yet. Jack, you reach the back door of the kitchen just in time to be greeted by the sound and indeed the smell of a bucket full of fish guts being tossed into a gutter kind of nearby your hiding place behind a dumpster. And you can hear two busboys or kitchen helpers talking in Nenurian, and they're saying, "Jesus, did you see the size of that ring? Oh, incredible. Must be worth a fortune. Yeah, but the lady is definitely the real prize. A true beauty from the Breck Tour. You don't see that kind around here often. You don't see that kind around here ever. Oh, it's true. She was smoking hot." And other various bantering back and forths. Do you want to keep listening, or?
Jack's going to keep listening and pretend to lose track of time.
Excellent. your nostrils are greeted by the smells of tobacco, as these two have obviously stopped to light up a quick smoke and have a little break. And they continue to go on, saying, I guess, what's a good name for this guy? Schlatter.
Schlatter is the opulent dude?
You're not sure.
Right, sorry.
The busboys say, good for Schlatter. Well, yeah, of course, good for Schlatter. He can afford it. Yeah, he can bring in a wife from wherever he wants. That's true, but still, good for him. I guess if you've got the money, you can buy yourself a princess. Yeah, that's true. Oh, man, I can't imagine. That ring must have cost more than my entire house is worth. Yeah, more money than I'll make in a year. More money than you make in 10 years. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. They're oh, yeah, so, And then they proceed to just start to go on and talk about local sports team or something.
Okay, I'm going to slip away.
Alrighty.
And whenever I get back to the group, I'm going to let them know, Schlatter? Name sound familiar?
Nope.
Right. So it's going to take a mo before you get back there. And Elliot, you'll get a chance to open up the leather envelope, which is So it's like a little folder, and inside of it is just a single piece of paper that's been folded 3 times into thirds, and you recognize it once you open it up as an Anurian bank draft.
From whom to whom?
From let's call him Reinhold Schlatter. Reinhold Schlatter to Greco. We didn't come up with a first name for Greco either. Richard.
So wait, so Schlatter is paying the Marx's aide a buttload of money.
Yes. 25,000 gold pieces.
And Murgatroyd saw the aide give present Lafayette with a ring.
Murgatroyd saw... Thank you, sweetheart. Murgatroyd saw Schlatter's aide actually do the getting down on one knee, because Schlatter's much too rich a gentleman to spoil his suit by getting down on one knee in a restaurant.
Right. Okay, so Schlatter is getting engaged to this Lafayette woman.
Correct.
Here? Oh, so Schlatter must be from here.
Yes, he is. You can go ahead and make a history check if you want to learn some more about Schlatter. Yeah, you know that he is one of the rich merchant guys around, right? When you first landed in Loofah a year ago and did that little bit of bumming around and finding stuff out, you're like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. So Schlatter Holdings must be, that must be this guy, because there's quite a few big warehouses under the Schlatter Holdings name.
Well, this all seems like quite the herring.
Is it red?
Yeah, looks that way. Unless, Lafayette is somehow involved in... God. Unless... No. Who the hell is this Lafayette woman? I don't suppose we could have retconned. No. So that I could have asked the Nash if she knows who Lafayette is.
No.
Damn it.
I'll be right back.
No problem. Well,
Am I back yet?
yeah, probably. I try and set up... Oh yeah, you're definitely back because you told us about Schlatter.
No, I was going to, but then you got to open up the letter.
Oh, right. No, you... Oh. I don't know, you're probably back by now. I think it's fine.
There was something about Schlatter buying wife?
Yeah.
Spouse, princess, something, and very expensive rock.
Yep.
I did not hear anything else of importance or use.
Well, I think what I've done is grasped
Something
at straws.
more useful to me, as
No.
usual.
No, I think I've screwed the pooch royally. So
You should not screw pooches.
I think like what's happened is I've assumed.
I'm pretty
that,
sure they cannot give consent.
I've assumed that this carriage, this thing from Purell, was the money transfer for the assassination, but that's not how it seems at the Mo. I
Is
guess
it money for something else?
it seems like it was. Wait, no, because even if it was this Schlatter guy buying Princess money, unless that's like her dowry. Yeah, it's possible that the money that this carriage coming in from Purell is just a dowry for this rich guy's wedding, and we've messed it up and destabilized the economy even more.
I thought dowries went to family of wife,
No,
not
dowries.
other way rounds.
No, dowries are like what the wife is giving to the husband. It's definitely like what the bride is bringing to the marriage.
It's what the bride's family gives.
Yeah.
So while you're standing around discussing this on the wharf, you hear a voice in the distance say, "There they are, over there!" And you look over and see Greco with 3 Anurian soldiers, and he's pointing in your direction.
Balls, run. Fuck.
I'll follow.
I want to just shout meet back at the place where meet back at the place and sprint through the opulent restaurant.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, Elliot says meet back at the place and runs right into the front door of the restaurant, kind of shoving aside the maitre d' by the door, who's like, "My word!" And when you
Sacre bleu.
when you go to run, you can hear one of the Anurian guards and Greco both yell out, "Stop thief!"
Yeah. So while I'm sprinting through running through the restaurant, I want to stealthily drop the leather envelope.
Excellent. So I'm going to say make a stealth check or sleight of hand, and make an acrobatics check, please.
Sleight of hand would be thievery.
Yes.
Gonna go for that. Nice.
Excellent. Yep. So you pull that one off, and the acrobatics check.
Whoa!
Nice. Back-to-back killer rolls. All right, so you kind of leap over a partition, skipping across one of the tables without stepping directly into a tureen full of melted butter, and drop the leather envelope onto the seat next to where Mrs. Lafayette was sitting. Madame Lafayette was sitting, as you kind of one-handed cartwheel over the privacy partition and land, then kick through the Dutch doors into the kitchen area, fleeing through there. Let's go around the horn. Jack, what are you doing?
Jack is confused, and Jack will turn to Arwen and say, "Place?"
Arwen is also confused.
Perfect. Burgertroid, what are you doing?
Does it look like they're coming towards us?
Yes.
Like, do they know we're associated with Elliot? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I'll be like, yeah, I know the place, and then I'll start running.
Yeah. Vince
Jack
does
will
comes after you guys.
Jack will jog behind him with a gesture like, "What?"
Erwin's gonna follow Jack.
All right. Well, if you guys are all kind of keeping pace with Murgatroyd, then the Anurian guards are going to catch up with you because Murgatroyd's pace is slow.
Can me and Jack kind of carry him faster?
If Murgatroyd will allow that, yes.
What is Murgatroyd's speed normally?
5.
Jack has same speed.
So we're gonna have to split up. So I'll be like, meet us at Dante's uncle's place, which you guys probably only know as Zoinks or Zroink or whatever his last name is.
Jack remembers.
Where the dog tore the shit out of the place.
Okay. Erwin understands.
Jack will head towards castle to double back round to Dante's uncle place.
Excellent. All right, so you guys all split up and start to run through different areas of the city. Several of the Mitch, of course, Vince, of course, goes wherever Murgatroyd goes. So, Arwen, you easily outpace these guards, even in your full plate. You still move much quicker than them, and so they don't chase you. They look after the running Minotaur, but decide that they don't want to be the one who catches a Minotaur, so they don't chase Jack. They instead chase Murgatroyd and Vince.
So once I see that no one's chasing me, can I double back and see what they're doing?
Yeah, you can. So you run down an alleyway and make a quick turn and notice that no one's chasing you down the alleyway, so you about face and sprint back down the alleyway you've got and come up behind them. So now running through the streets is Murgatroyd and Vince being chased by 3 guards who are then being chased by Arwen and Amicus.
Okay, I just want to follow them, but I don't want them to know I'm there. I only want to interact with them if they catch our teammates.
Excellent. All right. So the first thing that happens, Vince and Murgatroyd, you're running down an alleyway, and there is a low wall up ahead.
Rhino charge.
Yeah, the low wall. Is it possible if they're getting close, too close to me, then it looks like they're going to catch up to me? Can I just try to get out of view of, the general populace, alleys and... Just basically, if I want to engage them, I don't want to be in the middle of a town square type deal.
Excellent. Yeah, you're in alleyways right now, running through the back alley. So you can, at any point during this chase scene, turn around and fight if you want.
I'll just, how close are they getting to nabbing me?
Right now, they are 3 movements behind you guys. So they're 15 squares behind you.
They would clearly see us hiding behind a short wall.
Yes. So I've been toying with this idea of doing a random chase generator, and I'm just kind of going by my rough notes right now. So if an opportunity came up to do a hide, so right now there's obstacle, event, challenge, and if the option to duck out of sight comes up on the random table, it's you cut around a quick corner and there's a place to hide, and that happens. But right now you just kind of run down an alleyway and there is a 6 foot high, in this case, brick wall ahead of you.
Dead end style, we're...
Yeah.
6 feet high is a dead end.
Yeah. Just well, then I'll just turn around and just eyeball the guys chasing me. And wait to see if they'll stop or if they're just gonna run right into me.
Yeah, they do stop when they get to where you guys are in the alleyway, but they kind of I guess they have short swords and small shields, and they draw them, and they I guess the main guy in the front does not draw his weapons, but the other 2 guys draw their weapons, and the main guy in the front says, "Stop thieves! You have stolen something from Mr. Greco."
What? I stop, and I'll nudge at Vince, and I'll be like, or she'll scream rape.
And Vince nods. And he goes, yeah, stop or I'll rape you.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, the guards look a little bit confused, but they say, Mr. Greco pointed towards you as thieves. You two are under arrest. You have to accompany us back to the watch house.
Is there like anyone else in view of these guys?
Make a perception check, please.
I'm in view, right?
We're about to see if Murgatroyd can see you. Yes. So Murgatroyd, you kind of see out down the other end of the alleyway. You can see Arwen and Amicus.
Are they within like charging range?
Yeah.
But there's like no like bystanders or anything.
No, you guys are pretty alone here.
All right, I'm gonna just start shield bash. I'm gonna try plow through them since there's a dead end on this side.
Okay, just a second. I have a map for this. I can throw it up real quick. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves.
I'm not gonna attempt to do murder damage. I'm just gonna try to plow through them. Well, maybe shield up on one side and have him pulling on Vince with the other hand.
I assume I'm going to see what you're doing, and I'm going to try and clear a path for you.
They're probably not elves, so like you're probably cool to murder them.
I'm still not going to murder anyone, but thanks for bringing up that sore spot.
Yeah, I love that, like, everywhere we go, I get us into a shitty situation wherein we are at odds with the guards. Sigh.
And then we have to murder them.
Well, I mean...
Nobody had to murder them. Dave is insane.
Well, to be fair, he
Someone's
did have to murder.
We're not saying
Oh, no, wait, that
names.
was Dante. Dante had to murder people, not Herpes. I know that I'm not allowed to say this, but Vince can teleport. And can teleport Murgatroyd.
Well, he can switch spots with me. He can't teleport.
Right, but Vince could clear that wall
And leave Murgatroyd alone?
until Vince switches places with Murgatroyd.
And then he can teleport again?
Or just, like, if Vince got on top of the wall, yeah.
Right, but the guards are probably regular height, so they'd just be able to like clear the wall pretty fast as well.
That's true.
It's just an issue for a midget.
I'm surprised you didn't try and rhino charge the bricks.
Well, I'm assuming if Murgatroyd thought they were maybe shoddy bricks, but like I didn't see like.
Yeah.
There's no mention there was a shitty wall.
No, I get you. It wouldn't be dwarf made though, therefore it's shitty. To Murgatroyd, I mean.
Right. If it was wooden, it'd been destroyed.
Right. Well, you did 90 damage to Greyheart in one turn.
Turned out to be 0. But
It did turn out to be 0. Okay, so the bottom row of figures on this map here, bling. We got Murgatroyd and Arwen and Vince. Is that correct for everybody's HP and whatnot?
I'm assuming Vince doesn't have more than his max, but
No, but I changed mine. I think I lost 3 points in that pirate fight.
Okay.
I fixed it. Although I also have all my healing surges, so I'm not sure if that's red or blue.
Healing surges are red. Okay. Oh, I did bring you guys over to this map. All right, so that little red thing that I've drawn on there is the brick wall at the end of the alleyway. And that's where you guys are. Isn't this a great map? I'm so happy I found this one.
I like it.
All right, so I guess Roll for initiative, please. All right, Murgatroyd, you're going first. Excuse me.
Do these guys look like shitty guards?
No, these look like Royal Anurian guards. They have good armor and good quality weapons.
They don't look like they fear me yet, though. Is what you're...
No, sorry, that's how they're arrayed. And the two guys at the back have their weapons drawn, but this guy in the front doesn't yet, and he's just kind of got one hand out, looking to detain you. But I guess if you draw your weapons, he draws his.
No, I'll just... Well, I mean, I have my shield, but my weapon's, like, still on my belt loop or whatever. Can I do a rhino charge, but with my free hand pull Vincel on?
Yes.
So shield up with one hand, and then I'll charge the guy in the back so I can run past the guy. I guess he doesn't have a weapon on.
Right, so that would be minus your weapon proficiency and stuff.
Well, no, this is a shield move.
Oh, then why does it say fire?
Oh, maybe I just added it to the wrong macro. Or no, wait, maybe Rhino Strike is the one that doesn't use the shield bonus. Maybe just check that on the card.
Okay.
Yeah, because I took all the charges, but some of them are shield specific charges.
Right.
Okay, no, Rhino Strike is the melee weapon one. I'll do the shield bash then.
Okay. You get against one of these back ones, you said?
Yeah, the one directly in front of me.
Perfect. 17 versus reflex is unfortunately a miss for these guys. So you meet shield to shield with him. He's ready for it.
Okay, it would be 18.
It would be 18.
Because I'm charging.
Right. Okay. In that case, it's a tie, and ties go to the defender.
Yeah, that's fine.
So yeah, there's a clatter and crash, and his buddy beside him also kind of braces. He's got his shield there. These soldiers have obviously been trained to fight together, sort of thing. And the third one draws his weapons.
I'm just gonna load up the inventory. I want to see if I have a bump point. I do. Can I +1 it?
Yes. Excellent. All right. So yes, you in that case meet shield to shield, and your experience and your time spent adventuring and earning bump points hardens your resolve to shove this guy, and you give him that extra bit of business. And you just kind of shove him back into the corner of this building. You're just trying to make a path for you and Vince to run through?
Yeah, we're just like plow through.
Perfect. All right.
If I can at all keep moving, I will, since it's my standard, I guess.
Yep. So yeah, this guy is more like here. Perfect. And yeah, you can keep moving through there. This square immediately between the two of them counts as a squeeze, so it's an extra square of movement to kind of muscle and push your way through. But once you're through, you guys can move the rest of your movement rate, and then your second move. And if you want to spend an action point for another move, you can.
Well, would it be it knocks him down, it knocks him prone?
Yep.
Okay.
So he's on his arse in the corner over here, but it's tight quarters.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do, so it was 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I guess I'll do another move. And I probably will take an opportunity attack by the one that's probably standing still. I don't know if the guy without a weapon, he might be able to grab or something.
They all had their weapons out, and he had slashed at you with this short sword, but it clints off of your armor.
Okay.
Hello.
Vince!
There he is, just in time. All right, Arwen, your turn.
I'm going to fire a warning arrow and then follow the other two.
All right. You tie a little note to the warning arrow that says, mind your own business.
Aw, that'd be nice.
Are you tie a note to the arrow that says acid orb and shoot it at them?
Seriously, are you guys just trying to hurt me?
we're hurting ourselves. Believe me, I feel so shit about that whole situation.
Guards, you're battling city guards.
Orphan guards. Orphan nuns.
All right, so yeah, the arrow slams into the side of this building here, kind of between the two guards who look in surprise at right. They didn't really even see you there, so just all of a sudden there's like ka-chonk, and there's an arrow vibrating in the woodwork beside them. So they both kind of duck and dive for cover, putting their shields up over their faces, and then you can move, Arwen.
I'll just keep pace with the other two.
All right, you hear a voice from behind where those guards are. It yells, "Get on your feet and get after me!" 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so they can move 5 squares. So he gets up to right behind where Arwen is, and he's going to say, "Stop in the name of the king," and attack Arwen. Does a 20 hit your AC, Arwen?
No, it does not.
All right, then his sword slashes across the back plate, which is attached to your breastplate, and you can feel it make contact, but of course it does no damage.
If I hear that, I say, like, which king?
I was just going to say, quick sidebar. Aren't we defending the king?
Unofficially.
You are defending the interim king of Loofah, but these guys answer to the king of Anwire. So there's the Loofah city guards, and then there's the Anwarian royal guards who belong to the army of the entire country, right? It's like the difference between the Halifax police and the RCMP.
Gotcha.
Excellent. Vince, your turn.
What's going on, guys?
You've been a little bit in and out for a bit, Vince, but you kind of come to just as Murgatroyd is dragging you down some alleyways, and you're running from some city guards who are accusing you of thievery.
Yeah, I'll explain that we came up across an unpassable object, aka a 6-foot-high wall. So I had to charge through the guards because there was no other way around the wall.
I was also in the background ready to defend you.
So we're trying to run away right now, but, like, Arwen's getting all murdery, so we might have to.
Classic Arwen.
So we're running, is what you're saying. I'm no good at that. I will teleport. Are we running that way?
Yeah.
East? I'll bloop out of there. And then, actually, I'll do a double move, I guess. And I'll hide right here.
Excellent. Make a thievery check to hide, or stealth. Sorry. Wait, is stealth and thievery different skills? I forget.
Yes.
Perfect. Then yeah, it's a stealth check.
Oh.
Or it can be a streetwise check.
I'll do streetwise.
Perfect. So a streetwise check means that you happen upon a gaggle of serving wenches who are taking a little smoke break outside behind this particular tavern, and they're gossiping about things. You quickly whip around the corner and flip your trident down into broom mode and blend in with them Assassin's Creed style, joining into the left. Of course, yeah, that's so funny.
Great.
Perfect. Back up to Murgatroyd.
I'm going to sprint. And then standard for move. And I'll sprint again. And get up to over here.
Perfect. So just to the north of you here, Murgatroyd, there's a tiny gap that's maybe about 1.5 feet wide that you think that you might be able to muscle your way through between these two houses.
The houses will move, I keep telling myself.
They'll move. All right, Arwen.
I guess I'll double move. Which takes me about there.
Would you like to sprint? You can add an additional 4 to that move.
I'm not sure which way the other two went, actually.
You can look up north and see Murgatroyd kind of looking at a space between two buildings like, yeah, I can fit. and you look south to a group of women that are just kind of dressed in servants' clothing, and they're just kind of chatting. And one of them has a basket that she opens up, and it's got some rolls inside of it that have got a bite taken out of one of them. She rips the part that has a bite taken out of it off and throws it into the gutter, and then starts to eat some of the other roll, and passes one to Vince, and passes one to one of the other ladies that's standing around there talking.
Interesting. I bet you being kidnapped or given away to pirates or whatever, I probably haven't eaten in a while, so I'm going to go towards them.
Perfect. Okay. They immediately stop talking and all stare at you. The very tall and imposing figure of a woman dressed in full plate. You definitely stand out amongst this group of 4 women who are dressed in very plain, kind of shabby clothing. Vince being dressed mostly in the white cotton bathrobes that the nurses and doctors dressed Vince in.
Well, I speak to them very commonly and ask if they have any spare food.
The one
I'll
that
be like, shoo away, beggar.
The one with the basket that had the rolls in it turns to you and says, "Of course, m'lady," and bows, very politely. One of the others says, "Yes, miss," and she produces from a bag. She's got some other table scraps that they've managed to take from the restaurants that they each work in around here. They're clearing the tables, and this person left half a steak, and this person left 6 or 7 oysters on a thing, and so these are the waitresses pocketed this additional food, and they all hand it over to you, as you are obviously someone who is in charge, and they know their place. Vince, you just kind of shake your head.
I'm gonna say, please don't treat me any different. I don't want to take anything from you. If you have anything extra, I would be happy to have it. We are all equals here.
They say, "Yes, miss. Equals, whatever you say. Of course, here. Please." One of them has a look of, guess what's the word I'm looking for? Don't hit me kind of expression on her face as she's offering you the 6 oysters that she's managed to take. And she says, "They were just going to be thrown out, miss. I swear I didn't steal them."
Sorry, I'm trying to think of something to say. Give me a sec.
"Please don't tell Mr. Bogus." All right, you can hear the stomping footfalls of the guards, but they're a little bit behind you. Yeah, they haven't quite cleared the mouth of this alleyway yet. Vince, your turn. Arwen is totally ruining your disguise.
Okay. Before the guards come around, can I streetwise myself back here? Like go this way?
You don't have to
unnoticed.
You don't have to make a roll to go around the building like that. Yeah, you just move that way.
Okay.
Perfect. Excellent. And top of the initiative is then Murgatroyd. All right, Murgatroyd. How would you like to try and get yourself through that gap? Would you like to try and dexterity yourself through? Would you like to try and sheer muscle way yourself through with strength?
Athletics, my way through, or muscle, or probably not dexterity.
Or the last option is to try and exhale, suck it in, right, and get yourself through constitutionally.
Constitutionally, I'll do that.
Okay, make a Constitution check, please. Excellent. That's just enough. So yeah, you breathe out, and you get your one arm through and start pushing on the building, and some of the masonry scraping off the front of your armor as you can feel the front of your chest plate and the back of your chest plate being compressed tighter than the last time you were stepped on by some large creature. I think you even got crushed by that corpse leviathan too, right? In that big fight at one point. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You're like, "Oh, gee, this is tight. This is a little tight," and it's like mushing your face and your nose against some of the brickwork. But you push, and you dislodge several large chunks of the plaster and grout. Yeah, thank you. But you managed to pop your way through, and you're in this other alleyway over here. Ping. So yeah, you squoze through and you're over here now.
Sweet. So how much movement or of my turn did that take?
We'll say that took your standard action.
Okay. Is this like, what's this stuff right here?
These are crates. These are just some boxes and crates and stuff.
Is there like, is this a spot like under an eave or something, or?
Yep.
Like I'll just keep running until I can get maybe hide behind the crate here.
Okay, perfect. All right, Arwen, your turn again.
Arwen's feeling a little bit not involved in the teamwork spirit, so she's just going to, I guess, go on her own and try and find her way back.
Excellent. Which way would you like to run, Arwen?
Do I have any lay of the land? Do I know where I'm going?
You know that the manor house is, directly due north from where you are. So straight the way that you just saw Murgatroyd squeeze between those buildings.
Can I climb up on a building and try and jump my way from building to building to where I want to go?
You sure can. So that'll be an athletics check to climb up. I'm going to say it's a little trickier here, but you got some barrels and stuff, but the slate rooftops make it challenging. So athletics check of lower than DC 22. So in classic elven style, you leap onto the barrel and grab one hand onto a protrusion of the wooden supports that the roof sits on that have a name that I can't think of right now. Man, I can't think of any names right now anyway.
A buttress?
No.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. You reach up and grab an outcropping and swing yourself up onto the rooftop and nimbly running along the tiles to get away. So I'm going to say your first jump is going to be the decider here. So make a athletics or acrobatics check at DC 16. 17. Nice. Nicely done. So you run to the edge of the buildings, or say it's north here sort of thing, and you have to half slide down a slanty roof, which has a bit of a risky takeoff, and some of the slates and the guttering crack under your feet as you leap but successfully land on the other side of the building, and you have lost your pursuers. Murgatroyd, with your little bit of squeezing through there and stealthy hide behind the crates, you have also lost the pursuers. And Vince, you are just kind of blending in with the tavern scene, and you see the guards kind of run around the corner and ask the ladies, which way did the thieves go? And they point up to the rooftops to the way that Arwen went, and they run off in the northerly direction. But because they cannot follow as quickly across the rooftops as Arwen can run, you all evade the pursuers and meet back at Dante's uncle's house.
Nicely done, guys. Sorry I made you run, Murgatroyd.
I'll just be like, I hate running. It's the worst.
I promise that I'll try and minimize the amount of guard running that we do. And nicely done, Arwen. Seriously, doing backup for those guys. It's a shame there wasn't like a crate or a cart or something you could have pushed over in front of the guards, but we did great.
Thanks.
Nailed it. Okay, I think we need to spring our whatever we're gonna do now because of how badly I've botched this whole situation. So I'm thinking, okay.
Yeah, Murgatroyd's just like, I hate to running.
And I'll just like fall asleep in the corner.
Okay, so hey, actually, Vince hasn't been conscious since we've been kind of theorizing this plan, and I don't know if Johnny has heard our kind of half-assed plan for moving in on the Leviathan itself.
I have not.
So we'll see. So Vince, this is a bit of metagaming, but it's whatever. I have a scroll called Phantom Steed that we identified back in Five Peaks. And it's it depending on how well you roll it on an Arcana check, it makes it so you conjure up up to 8 horses that have special abilities.
Oh my.
Yeah, so I was kind of hoping we were going to be able to do this when we could take like a long time, but it's possible. I don't know. Let me know how you feel about this. So if you roll a 0 to 10, you just conjure up 8 horses. A 10 to 20, you get horses that can ignore difficult terrain. A 20 to 30, you get horses that can run on water. And I think it's 30 and above or 40 and above, I'll double check it, that you get horses that can fly. So how much is your just regular buff of Arcana?
13.
Nice. So well,
Maybe flying horses.
Maybe, or even like running on water horses. Right? Because like if we could, because we have Valhalla's like breathe underwater gear and Valhalla's like flying boots. So at least one of us would be able to fly out to the Leviathan. Now this is shitty because this is our worst case scenario that we're entering here, which is an assault on the Leviathan because of how the traps have sprung up around us. So unless I'm like misjudging the situation again and all of this can just blow over, but because the king is like in hiding, I don't know how fast the royal advisor will move. John, if Vince was to take 20 on this, on the Phantom Steed scroll, how long would that be? Like a full day?
It's 20 times whatever the listed time to cast is.
I'll look that up. 10 minutes. So it would take 200 minutes.
Yeah.
That's not that long at all.
Nope.
That's like a couple hours. And yeah, have to roll. Well, so you'd get like a natural 33. And if anyone in our party could help you, that could get you up to 35. Because I don't think too many of us have Arcana.
Right.
And if we failed, we'd be detracting from your skill, and I'd be afraid to get you lower than 29, right? Oh, unless we could take 20 to help. Is that a thing, John? Probably not.
Taking 20 to help? No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. And I mean,
Oh,
30.
just a second. I gotta go. Keep talking. Juliet's just calling me. Yes.
No problem. So I think like 33, like we could get water horses, and then we wouldn't need a boat. And I think horses, like in the harbor situation like that, horses could go faster than like a ship that we could get out to the Leviathan, right?
Right.
Okay. So
you had me at like fucking ghost horses, man. I'm down.
Well, I think we're gonna need more of a plan than that, because they're gonna have, if they see us coming, they're gonna start firing on us, and we won't be able to retaliate, right? Except for those of us who have ranged attacks from horseback. And I think that's not all of us. So I'm wondering if like the most stealthy of us should try and get a boat from the docks out to have the schooners of the Leviathan theoretically intercept it, and then like the cavalry charge in on horseback rather than just a full frontal assault, and one of us to fly in over.
Yeah.
Do you think that plan has too many moving parts?
Not really. I mean, it's better than just running in there.
So yeah, I don't know. Like I'm trying to anticipate what's happening here? And I was so wrong with...
So what exactly is the Leviathan?
The Leviathan's that big ghost ship that we've seen a couple of times. We
Right.
did a little stakeout last time we were in Loofah, and we saw it when we were like floating down from the super far north in that really leaky boat, and Dante tried to attack them head on.
Right. And that's when I died one of the times?
No. Dante died...
Are you sure? When I died one of the times, and Valhalla saved me.
Oh, I don't remember the... Oh, yes, I do remember that.
Like, was
Yes.
that up in the far frozen place that we were?
Yeah, we were heading down from the frozen place, and we like pulled the boat out of the ice. It was when we first met Hatim. In any case, I think you're right. It is when you were dying, and Valhalla saved you.
Yay.
And the Leviathan is like that massive, terrifying ship, and their crew is all like orcs and super monsters and super deadly people. And now it's not just the Leviathan, it's all of these little schooners and everything. So if we went for a ship battle, we'd be like, have to fight our way through the schooners just to get to the ship itself.
Unless we had flying horses.
Exactly. But I don't know if... I don't think we can get like a roll of 40 without like everybody helping you. Jack, are you trained in Arcana or just religious magic?
Just religious.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm only religion.
Right. Yeah, I really don't understand the difference, but that's whatever.
One involves books, the other involves blessings from beings much more powerful than you or I. All hail Raven Queen.
So,
Jack should go pray over dead body now.
dead body?
It costs to do fancy healing I did with Vince.
That was awesome.
Just like any dead body.
Yes.
Not like there is a dead body in the room.
Yes.
Okay, well, unfortunately, everybody
I
kind
probably
of...
won't have time for that though, so.
Gotcha. Unfortunately, everybody kind of knows we're hiding here, because I've been telling everybody to look for us here. We've pulled the king out of safety. Oh, man.
We can get King back to safety.
Yeah. But if the royal advisor is really trying to have the king murdered...
That's a good question. We should ask him.
Who, the royal advisor?
Yeah, we brought him with us when we brought King.
No, because he's the one who was in the bar. He's the one who chased after us shouting, "Thief, thief."
Then who is the one we got in the castle?
I didn't think
I'll
that...
have to ask Johnny when he gets back.
I think that this is like... We're not remembering who's with who. I mean, would it have been likely that Jack and Murgatroyd and Vince were carting along this tied up royal advisor along with the king and the king's wife?
Yes, we had King, King's wife, and advisor, or what I thought was advisor, but I will confirm with Johnny.
Oh dear.
I mean, Raven Queen. All hail Raven Queen.
I think it's going to mess up the game quite a bit if we had the royal advisor tied up, but it's going to be hard to explain how he got away.
Maybe a second advisor?
Well, like the advisor's aide.
Because, like, the advisor would have recognized Murgatroyd for sure. And, probably you when you went in, if it was actually the advisor.
Well, so would the aide have.
Oh, maybe...
This is what I mean, is it's going to be confusing if we had the actual advisor's aide. But we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys all got back to Dante's uncle's house, and you were just recapping.
We got a question.
Shoot.
Who did we take with us that I had threatened in the castle and had him kind of guide us through the secret passages? Was it an aide or was it who?
Now that I'm thinking about it, I think that was Greco, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty sure it was.
So I'm gonna say that he's got 2 assistants that are interchangeable. So you thought that, he's like, you know how it goes.
Yeah, dang, this guy has assistants for every day of the week.
So he's got like one named Greco and one named Gryco.
Well, that one's still tied up in the house with the king.
Yeah.
So let's go ask him some questions.
That is a
Jack
great
thinks
idea.
we should go ask him questions.
Let's since both the castle, like all the guard and the probably the Leviathan guys are looking for us. The Leviathan guys probably aren't looking for us, but the Royal Guard is definitely looking for us. Let's be stealthy about it.
Yay, Murgatroyd and Jack being stealthy.
It's so much fun. Or you guys just be brazen and I'll be stealthy.
Jack finds less people pay attention to him when he is not attempting to be quiet. They are scared and look away.
Except that there are people now actively looking for you.
Can you bluff to be just a normal cow? Just graze past them.
There's not a lot of cows walking around the streets of Loofah.
Oh, what if he disguises himself as a pantomime cow? Like he could be the front end and Jay could be the back end. And they just need like a brown blanket.
I like it. Yeah, if you want to try and do that. Jack and Murgatroyd, would you like to try and disguise yourselves as a pantomime cow?
Jack would not get the reference.
Okay, well there's
Jack would just be confused.
There's some paper and ink left around that's not destroyed from Amicus or Murgatroyd's rummaging. So Elliot, you can take a few minutes to describe what a pantomime horse is and how it would translate into a pantomime cow. It would mean that the rest of you, Elliot and Vince, would have to disguise yourself as other theater types to be like, oh, we're traveling performers.
I think we're I don't know.
Vince does love a good disguise.
Yeah.
Does Murgatroyd still have his costume?
I'm good for what have you. Are you guys down for disguises or? Because I'm good to just stealth. They may not even be like looking for us in full force. My guess is like by now they've found that leather envelope and they're looking for us for questioning for sure, but it's not like manhunt levels out there. But I've been wrong before. Like how we got into this
torch the place and get out of here.
Like the whole city?
Yeah.
No, come on. This is just like, this is This is the equivalent from when Vince died and we had to send the cards and we had to draw from the deck. Right? This is just like one of those big setbacks that happens every time we try and do something. But we'll come out on top. We're smart and we can do this. End of pep talk.
We should, if we are bringing King with us, won't we not have to worry about guards, only assassins?
We're not with the king. We're at Dante's uncle's place. The king is at the Widow Nash's.
Oh, right.
Which is about a 7-minute walk to get to.
And it's a different king's guards that are after us.
Yeah.
Jack is okay with costume. Maybe big box head.
Maybe Steve from Minecraft.
What about just like a big cloak? Can we just take
My head
time?
stands out.
Or a 2-person cow costume, but he wouldn't have to wear, like, the headpiece.
That was the original suggestion, the pantomime cow.
Okay.
Oh,
What
good.
about-
I'm not the only one that not understood.
Can I just take find like a, the biggest blanket or sheet or curtain and fashion him like a large cloak, so he just is covered at least.
Yeah,
With
but it's the it's the horns.
yeah.
This
Right.
is why I say box. Box on head we can put in eye holes. So I can see,
Okay.
and then horns are covered.
But we don't have cardboard, right? We'll have to find a crate or a barrel. Could one of Murgatroyd's kegs fit on Jack's head?
No, they're little kegs.
Okay. Would Foink have a small sort of cask in the wine cellar, maybe?
Yes.
Okay. How about that, Jack?
It's got some wine in it though. How are you going to empty it?
Oh,
Just-
I wonder.
Jack will drink a little bit of the wine. But not much.
Murgatroyd?
Is it elven wine?
No. It's human wine.
The worst.
All right. So yeah, between the three of you, you drink a bunch, but eventually you get to the point where you guys are like, okay, any more of this, and we're gonna get shit faced. So perhaps maybe we should just dump the rest into lots of cups. So you arrange a whole bunch of glasses and stuff on a table and fill them all full. So now there's one table and just covered in glasses and bowls and any containers that you could find that's just full of wine, but you now have an empty wine barrel.
So when you
As
said
they're
a little
filling them up, I'll try to keep up and finish them.
Okay. Murgatroyd is very rosy-cheeked, and his lips are all purple, and his teeth are all purple by the end of this. And he's a little bit giddy. You don't get to see Murgatroyd really, really drunk often, but you just powered your way through probably about half a barrel of wine. So Murgatroyd is giggly drunk.
How has his stomach not burst?
He probably
Does
went
it work?
to the
Concerns
corner and
Jack.
peed a bunch too.
How has kidneys not burst?
That is strictly dwarven constitution thing right there. I think that dwarven anatomy comes with 4 kidneys as opposed to the usual 2 that humans get. Like cows have 4 stomachs, dwarves have extra kidneys to double process.
That's why anywhere you punch a dwarf, they always pee.
Excellent. Yes, and you're able to put this wooden pox on. All right, so let's have some I guess intelligence checks to fabricate this costume. Or what have we used in the past when fabricating costumes?
We've done thievery as a creating disguise sort of situation. But intelligence makes sense.
Yeah, so I guess you can all help, and then one person in particular makes the intelligence check. I think you want Elliot to do the help.
Yeah. Vince has probably the highest
Intelligence plus half level.
Yeah. Oh God.
Oh, I guess mine would be a +1 because actually have a 2. It's just my ability mod that's -1.
Excellent. Yep.
My half level is totally helping.
Oh, thank goodness, Mitch. Good thing
Pretty
we specified. Good thing we specified Vince as the one doing it.
Right. So you're all working on, and Murgatroyd, because he's in a giggly drunk stage, is like making silly suggestions, like the horse should be pink. Let's make the horse pink. Hey Vince. 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 Make it pink, Vince. 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 You know, that kind of stuff.
Now we're a spaceship.
Put a horn on it. Yeah, it's a unicorn. That'd be hilarious. Let's put a horn on there. Elliot, get Vince's attention. So
Okay.
eventually you're able to make a costume, which has the front half as a barrel with a horse's head that then Jack wears. And the back half is Murgatroyd, but because he's giggly drunk, he's like doing a little horsey dance, 2-step, and making lots of fart noises while he's wiggling his butt and the tail. But the costume, it's a decent enough pantomime horse costume. And as for Vince and Elliot, what type of actors are you going to disguise yourselves as? And I guess Arwen just says that she's gonna stay here and try and tidy up. Hold down the fort. So yeah, what type of actor would you like to disguise yourself as, Elliot? And same for you, Vince. Or perform.
I think Vince should be the bearded lady.
I like it.
And I'll juggle. I'll just carry 3 objects. And every
beard.
All right, where are you gonna get hair for your beard, Vince?
I'll get some from Murgatroyd. He's not looking.
All right. Yeah.
Just snip a little off.
I'll just give him some.
Yeah, you'll notice that tomorrow. Anyway, excellent. So the 4 of you, those looking a little bit more like 3, are making your way through the streets, and you get a lot of looks. For sure, but a juggler, a bearded lady, and a pantomime horse all walk into a bar, and you manage. Is very funny to me. You managed to make your way to the Widow Nash's home unmolested, although you do see several troops of Anurian royal guard in the streets, patrolling around and looking. Nobody stops you 4. The butler, surprised to have further visitors at this hour of the morning, but you can see that the house is open and the lights are on. He looks very, very perplexed at the apparitions that find themselves on his doorstep this evening, and he says, "Yes, we did not order any entertainment for this evening. I think you have the wrong house."
I'll say no. Grace is expecting us.
He says,
and he should recognize me.
Oh, you didn't put on any makeup or anything like that?
Like, I would have put on makeup, but I would hope that he would recognize my voice.
He does look at you a little bit quizzically and bombs his IQ check, so he just kind of continues to look puzzled at you.
I'll say I was here earlier. I have business with the Widow Nash. I was looking much cleaner earlier. I'll just barge in.
All right, you push past him, and he's like, sir, right? And then when the pantomime horse kind of stomps through, he's like, oh, my goodness. And then he looks down. I don't remember, Jack, did we land on you having human feet or cow hooves?
Cow hooves.
Perfect. So yeah, he looks down at that too, and he's like, oh, whoa, right? He's like, what a crappy costume on top, but all of a sudden some very fantastically looking hooves on at least the front, and then some like boots on the back half, which is having trouble keeping up with the front half and doing like a little dwarven jiggy dance underneath there, which as he as you guys head into the little side room there, you jig past a drink cart, and Murgatroyd's hand shoots out from underneath the pantomime horse and grabs a bottle and pulls it underneath the blanket, which makes up the back half of the horse, and then ejects the bottle from between his legs, empty, moments later. It is not too long in this state of affairs that Grace meets you guys, and she directs you to follow her back to another room inside the house, away from the front windows and possible eyes from the street, although it is a little ways to the street from, she has gardens and things like that around her house. But the king and the queen are both sitting in this very nice room enjoying some hot beverage and light snacks.
I'll walk up and
your brother like bursts out laughing when he sees the four of you.
Yeah, I'll take like a little bow, and I'll sit down at the table and say, well, so that carriage arrived, and it seems that there's a Shetler guy who's marrying that carriage came from Purell, but it was some lady named Lafayette. She's here to marry a Shetler. Do these names make any sense?
Your brother kind of looks at you, and shrugs a little bit, and looks over at the queen, she says, oh yes, the Lafayette family, they have great influence in the Brectura. She says, I have had correspondence with another family of royalty that lives in... Let me zoom over to the Brector here. In the Kiergaard. Insert capital city name here. I can't read it. The map is too blurry. But she says, yes, that's the Lafayettes are a family of very high standing, and if one of them is marrying Shecklin here, then that is a power move. Two very powerful families having a union like that.
So if the king were to be assassinated, it would be this kind of marriage could. I don't see the direct correlation, but I can definitely understand the kind of consolidation of power between the Brector and Loofah. What I'm looking for here is some kind of evidence to indicate who might be trying to pull this assassination off.
The queen just kind of shakes her head and she says, I don't know. That the Lafayettes would not particularly gain from the king's death, nor would Shecklin.
No, but this might be a way to get around having an interim king, right? Like if a local Sheckland is a lord, so theoretically if he married royalty, he could potentially assume the throne, or is this a familial line throne here?
She says yes, not in Anwire anyway. If he married into Brectur royalty, then perhaps he could assume a throne in Brectur. But here in Anwire, the throne is assigned by the king of Anwire, and that line. She says it's a bit surprising. This is not Shecklin's first wife, and usually a princess of good standing, like the Lafayette family, would not perhaps be attracted to someone with Sheklin's reputation for a lack
Polyandry?
of misogyny. Yes.
So what is his reputation? Is it just that he has multiple wives?
He has been through multiple wives. He likes them of a certain disposition and age. You did notice that Sheklin was much older than the young Lafayette, and she said, She says, if this is indeed a marriage that is going to happen, then some strings must have been pulled in order to get Lady Lafayette here. This is not something that was easily arranged.
Huh. Well, there's definitely something going on. And to me, it really seems like this marriage and the assassination are linked, but I don't know how. In any case, with the assassins in place, or at the very least mobile, it seems like you two should stay hidden. Although I am concerned with how Marks will respond if there isn't an immediate obvious threat. Like, you know what I mean? Is it likely that he'll think you've been kidnapped or that you've absconded? And either way, it seems like we should spring our trap on the Leviathan itself.
The king definitely says, he says, well, if there's no more immediate danger, I should return to the palace and make my presence known. I'll simply say that yes, there was some cause for alarm, and I fled, or perhaps maybe I should just say that it was a bit of a lark, and we disappeared as, an adventure, and not let on that we know anything about the assassination attempt.
That makes sense to me. Are you comfortable with that? And I'll ask his wife.
She looks at her husband, and then the two of them kind of nod and smile at each other and hold hands.
Okay. Go ahead,
should
Jack.
we ask the assistant we brought with us, see if he knows anything else before we do so? Maybe there was plan for if things went out of plan?
That was going to be my next. Let's turn to this guy, get him alone, and talk.
He's not here. He's tied up in the cellar.
Yes, I figured he was not in room. Him and King would not get along right now. Like vinegar and baking soda.
True that. So you'd like to go down to the cellar and see Krakow?
Yeah, I think so.
Jack will look at me.
Excellent. When you get down there, you can see him sitting quite still, but you see that there's signs of some sweat on his brow and dirt on his knees, and his wrists are quite raw where they're tied to the rope, which is tied to one of the posts here in the basement. So it looks like he was trying to escape, but when he heard you coming, he sat back quite still.
Jack is going to sit in front of him and begin staring, and Jack will allow Elliot to begin questioning.
Whew. Okay. I'll stand where I can kind of watch his face, but in profile.
Jack will be doing insight checks.
Sure.
And I'll say, we saw assassins in place.
What's your passive insight, Jack?
My passive insight is 21.
Nice one. Okay.
So we know that there was Oh, sorry, go ahead.
He just stares at you.
We know that there was going to be an attempt on the king.
He doesn't say
Do you know
anything.
anything about that?
He doesn't say anything.
Yeah. We had reason to believe that you were involved.
He says, I'm only involved because you drug me along.
Yes. Can you give us a reason why we should free you?
He says, because kidnapping is illegal.
Yeah, but we're adventurers. See, we're not as interested in local or even state laws. What we're interested in here is the safety of the king.
I think
We are not.
Herpes would
Sorry, go
disagree.
ahead.
Herpes would disagree with you guys whether you're interested in state law.
Yes,
Anyway,
but this yeah.
he continues to stare at you.
He's not gonna talk.
He says, what makes you think if there were assassins, they're there to kill the king? Perhaps they're there to kill the adventurers who've taken up residency in the palace. Trouble begets more trouble. It's not as though the Rod Stewards, and in particular Valhalla Kazam, have no enemies.
Yeah,
Was it
but-
not the Rod Stewards who brought a terrifying warrior bent on assassination to the gates of the castle, screaming your names?
No, he came of his own volition.
yeah. That's not on us.
But he was here for you. Perhaps these alleged assassins you've seen in the streets are also here for you.
If they were here for us, they would have taken us out one by one already. That's a terrible excuse. You should feel bad for such a terrible lie.
He kind of looks, at the four of you that are standing here, and he says, "From the
I guess all you need to know is that we know that the king is going to be assassinated. Well, we know that there's a hit out on the king. We know the Leviathan is involved, and we want to find out what you know."
This is out of the game. What's the name again of the advisor that we're suspicious of?
Marks.
Marks?
Yeah.
You work with Marks, right?
He nods.
Tell me about Marks.
He is a wise and very shrewd man who sees much more than people give him credit for, and
Which
knows
makes sense.
what's
He is
best
an
for this
advisor.
kingdom.
He is an advisor. That would be part of job description. What,
His advice should be heeded more frequently by the court of Loofah.
I am not from around here, so I don't know everyone that works in the court. Are there any other advisors that sometimes catches the court's ears better than him?
Well, the king.
He says, Marx used to be the number one, but the new interim king has been phasing him out in favor of others who have been duped.
Duped by our brilliant Marx?
Duped
Or
by
just duped
the interim
by...
king. Marx knows what's really going on.
That implies you know a bit about what's really going on, too. That could make our life much easier. What's really going on?
He says,
Because we could have been duped as well.
you adventurers roll into town, collect your money, and then leave. We are the ones who have to stay
Wait,
and
we're getting
live here.
paid.
You're not getting paid. You're protecting the king for no reward.
I am holy man.
He says, well then, holy man, I suggest you contact your god and see who is telling the truth here.
Well,
Can I do a insight check on him?
Yes. He is, oh, just a second. Kim's calling me.
Can I take a swing at this, Jack? I've got an idea.
Certainly. Jack is really just trying to find hints of what we should be asking.
No, I totally got you. You're doing great.
My insight is doing great.
No.
Like, that is tied for first for my best skill.
No, that exactly right. Like, I'm a holy man. I don't want to see a king die.
And also, I'm a holy man. I don't get paid. There's no bribery going on here. You walk into town taking your money and leaving. What money? I'm a neutral third party.
Okay.
So,
Family. Yes, he
cool.
believes in that last statement. He definitely is displaying like a fanatic belief in Marx.
Okay, well, I'm gonna swing with, look, the king is secondary to us. We don't want to see him die. We don't want to see any overthrowing of this kingdom, this already destabilized area. We're here for the Leviathan. We're here to stop it, ideally. And when we rolled into town and found out that there was a plot involving the Leviathan to kill the king, we were hoping that we could legally stop them.
He says, well, since you're just adventurers anyway, and your goal is to get rid of the Leviathan, perhaps you could help them finish their job.
That's...
Once the task is completed, the Leviathan will leave.
What makes you say that?
He doesn't answer.
See, it seems to me that you know a lot more than you... Seems that you know more information than your station should accommodate for. What do you know? Gerhard? Whatever his name is.
Greco.
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 I'll call him Gerhard, it's funnier.
He says, I know who should really be in charge of Loofah.
Alright. Okay.
Oh!
It seems to me that if you were interrogated, then you might reveal some information that would be crucial to us.
Jack, with your passive insight, you catch a look of fear flick across his face at the word interrogate.
One, yeah, you don't like interrogation. I seem to recall something about the Leviathan, or people from the Leviathan not being happy.
They're pirates.
About the deal, about being paid, or rather, not being paid. Am I misremembering that?
Are you asking him or are you asking me?
Oh,
I'm kind of asking Elliot.
Yeah, it seems to me that the Leviathan has all the resources needed to carry out something as trivial as killing an interim king. They're waiting on payment, right?
And yes.
I'll look pointedly. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jack.
if they need payment, and there was dowry from the lady, right? That
Yeah.
would be payment, or would be used for payment.
That would make sense to me. Seems to me that if Marx arranged for some high income to come into the city, that he could afford to pay some hefty fees to some high-profile hitmen. But you wouldn't know anything about that, would you, Greco?
He's just kind of glancing back and forth at the two of you talking about this with a bit of a nervous expression on his face, but that's all you can read from him.
Right. Well, Greco, here's the thing.
I have another question for Greco once you were done.
Greco.
He
corrects you.
Greco, your status quo is done. This whole situation, the plot to overthrow this interim king, I don't know what the beef with Marx and you, I don't know where the problem started, but it doesn't concern me. So explain to me your exit strategy from this situation, because we're not going back to where you were with the plot to overthrow the king. That's done. So tell me what you want. Tell me how you plan to extricate yourself from this situation that you put yourself in by siding with this guy, Marx, who wants to have the king assassinated.
And did it in such a clumsy way that we were brought in. I'm going to try to make that, like, imply, like, your man Marx is not as great as you think he is.
Right. He, with a definite paling of his cheeks and a little quiver of terror in his voice, he kind of puffs up his chest with false bravery and says, "Well, you're either going to kill me or you're going to let me go."
No, it's... I mean, sure, we're either going to kill you or we're going to let you go. But there's a lot in between those two eventualities. And I'll pull out my dagger and kind of absentmindedly spin it in my hand.
Okay.
Like killing could take
intimidate check?
Like years.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, go ahead.
On intimidate?
Yes, please.
I think mob mentality is appropriate in this situation.
Yeah.
Between the giant minotaur and I, so this will be +2.
And the fact that the back half of the pantomime horse costume suddenly tears apart as Murgatroyd leaps out of it, yelling "spaghetti."
So 24.
He squeals, and it tries to backpedal his way away from you guys on his butt cheeks and heels in the ground, forgetting that his wrists are tied around this post, and then just kind of scoots around the post further and tries to keep it between himself and you, Elliot.
Okay. I'll just... Batman, tell me what you know.
He says, panicked. He says, okay. Yes, the new king, interim king, is not the king. He's an imposter. He is not the prince of... we didn't come up with a place here. Let's say he's not the king of... Aria. He's not the prince of Aria. Marx knows this. He knows that this young man is he's not even Kinsai.
I don't care about that. Tell me about the assassination.
He says, "Well, he says yes. We've been trying to discredit, but the interim king is crafty and light on his feet. he has influence and is able to block our attempts. He says the assassination.
Is that not the signs of a good king?
He says the crew of the Leviathan said they could remove the problem for us.
All right. Well, this is great. I'm so glad that you're talking to us, Greco. Look, we can let you go because we want to stop the Leviathan. We want to take him down. You can, if you help us do that.
Laughs and he says, "Stop the Leviathan."
We've done some fun things. Leviathan will be just, that'll be a weekend.
Look, Greco, you can get out of this. You can probably get your job back. Now, help us incriminate Marx and the Leviathan, and we can get you out of this.
He looks around, possibly even more scared than before, and he says, "Marx's influence runs far." He says, "There is nowhere in Anwar I could go that would be safe from his wrath if I were to testify against him."
We can get you... Dude, we have been everywhere. We've been to the Jurek Highlands. We've been to Mount Goldenfire. We can get you to safety.
He
Marx's influence...
The Jurek Highlands are far from safe right now. They are under assault of the forces of Damon. Have you not heard?
My point is, Marx's influence runs far, but we travel with Valhalla Kazam. We can get you to safety.
He kind of, the first time he laughs a little bit, he's Valhalla Kazam. He is a buffoon.
Greco, you're not listening. You incriminate Marx, help us incriminate Marx and take down the Leviathan, and you will have you'll have a favor from the king.
If Marx goes down, his influence also goes down.
An imposter king.
An imposter king that runs the kingdom as though a true king, presuming he is imposter. I don't know how kingdoms work.
Greco, Marx is the king's only opposition, as far as I can see it. Remove Marx, and the king is the king.
He says, there are others. Marx is not completely without his supporters. This is the reason he is an interim king.
Marx completely without his supporters? Sorry, you cut out there a little bit.
Oh, no, I apologize. He says Marx is not without his supporters. This is why he is the interim king. The coronation has not been completely ratified.
Right. So Marx falls, or the king falls. And I'm not interested, and I'm here for the Leviathan. The Leviathan is tied to Marx. Bring down... I remove Marx, and the king is the king.
I have a question. Would Marx have a contract or letter from Leviathan?
He says,
and
I don't know.
I'm carefully looking at him as I'm going into this line of questioning.
Yeah, he shakes his head, I don't know, and it's legit. He doesn't know whether or not Marx has a contract, written contract with the Leviathan.
Was Marx in direct contact with members of Leviathan?
He kind of looks from one to you to the other, and then at the dagger, and then at diplomacy, which is probably being hefted back and forth between Murgatroyd's hands, and then he says, "No."
Try again. Did Marx have direct contact with members of Leviathan?
All right. The gloom in the root cellar is suddenly enhanced by the flames that sprout forth from the magic runes inscribed on diplomacy's surface, which burn a deeper red than normal fire. and he swallows hard, and he kind of looks at you, and he says, yes. Mark's met with two members of the crew, the captain, and then on a second occasion, a man named Odell.
Ah,
Do you know how much Marx was offering for this assassination?
He kind of swallows hard, and he says, yes, a king's ransom.
50,000?
He says, no, 100.
If Marx is found out to be guilty, would not his possessions go to the state? And I'm asking Elliot this.
It's hard to say, but more important to me than his possessions are his influence. If Marx is exposed, then Marx's supporters will fall.
I had the idea of we convince Captain of the Leviathan to testify against Marx, and when Marx falls, he gets Marx's possessions. So King's ransom plus others.
Right. But I don't think Gryko is involved in that. All right, Gryko. So I need a reason to let you out now. If you can help us bring down Marx, I don't have any ideas just yet. But if you can help us bring down Marx, then we'll let you go before this situation is resolved. If you can't help us, then that's fine. You'll just stay tied up down here until we bring down the Leviathan to expose Marx.
He says, I'll do whatever you say. Just don't hurt me.
Perfect. That's what I wanted to hear. I'm going to check his pockets.
All right. He has like a little.
I'm just looking. I just want to make sure he doesn't have like one of those Jericho whistles or something for Marx or whatever.
No. He has like personal effects.
Cool. That's great. I'll say I'm glad you've seen reason and confer with everybody else. So we've got a guy who let's go upstairs.
Yes.
If you turn to go upstairs, he says, "Wait, I thought you were going to set me free."
Eventually.
We decide not to kill you just yet.
Okay.
You probably won't be killed.
He sighs.
You might not be
like,
breathing when we set you free.
Okay. He doesn't say anything to that.
Okay, so we've got a guy. I don't know how we could use him. I think the best we could do is like set up a kind of meet where Gryko could, Gryko could get some incriminating information, but that involves so many stages. I think we should go for the Leviathan because it seems to be it's
At minimum, we need Captain of Leviathan. But getting rid of Leviathan would also work. So I agree. Either way, we need to go to Leviathan.
Is the guy still in earshot?
Oh, we went upstairs.
Oh, okay. I guess I would have followed you. But I'll mention.
Or you can stay in the basement.
We ride.
Yeah. I guess we could get Vince started on conjuring our horses, get the king started on getting that boat together. I know like he planted the seeds for that, but then we pulled him out of the castle. So do whatever final preparations are needed for that. Make sure that he is like in whatever panic room with guards that he trusts or somewhere safe. And then we start our
Oh, we should go ask him one more question.
let's I've got a couple of things that I want to ask him about. So what are you gonna go for?
We should see if he knows either where trading of money will take place, when, or what is a signal.
Right.
Because if we are off fighting Leviathan and signal goes off, then the guards in the city should know how to respond to prevent that.
My guess is that it's already happened, right? Like when we lost Marks, it's possible that he went to make the drop happen. Although he didn't have the money from the dowry.
Yes.
So I don't know. So I don't know if he needed that, like if it's like a checkbook system where it's just like a promissory note.
Wasn't many wagons coming in when the lady was coming from the Bractor?
Yeah,
I think it included dowry.
Right. Okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
On
So
the wagon
and
that
that would
she
make
got out
sense
of, there was
why-
several large trunks.
Right.
And it
so
would make sense why Leviathan had not yet been paid and why they were impatient.
Right. Okay, yeah, so let's find out if he knows when the meeting is happening, and also if he knows... oh, that seems stupid now. I was going to ask him if he knows of, like, a way to reach the Leviathan, like, diplomatically. But I think they're going to be on pretty high alert as of now. So yeah, let's go down and find out if he knows where and when the drop is happening, and if it's already happened.
He does not. He says the only one who actually contacts the Leviathan is Marks, and he does so by a means of several secret notifications. Running up the flag is one. There are some other ways of getting their attention. Red lanterns set at certain points along the docks, and I'm gonna say there's one more. I'm gonna say he has a system with a messenger crow.
Okay. All right. Great. So if the king hasn't left yet, I'll definitely ask him about getting that ship together. Say, let him know, yes.
Yeah, the king says once I get back to the palace, I'll get the wheels in motion. It can probably be done by afternoon tomorrow. Then he looks at the grandfather clock in the corner and says, afternoon today.
And the assassination is not off, and they are linked. I believe that the dowry from this wedding is being used to pay for the Leviathan crew to carry out the hit.
He says, interesting.
That
would be a way to raise funds. He says, what about the treasure brought in from Purell?
I think it's a king's ransom, right? It's like 100,000 gold.
He goes,
so
your brother kind of smiles at that. Not just a smile at, the words of 100,000 gold have been spoken, but the fact that he's like, oh, I'm king. I'm worth 100,000 gold.
Yeah. So, I think that there's a lot at play, and the trunks are all part of it. I'm hoping that our guy, Peter, who was watching the the trunks will have something to report, either that nobody has gone to fetch the trunks, or that somebody that he recognizes and would be able to would be not too difficult to follow. In any case, I think we'll start our preparations and plan for I don't know, I guess sundown today.
Very good. The king says.
So John,
Yes.
just as like a it's 10 there, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. I was just like trying to remember the time difference. Okay. So we probably
We can keep going for another half hour or so.
yeah, jeez, I don't know. This is big.
It's
This isn't like-
definitely a good puzzle.
Okay. So I am definitely of the opinion that we should attempt to derivate people from the Leviathan, maybe run up that red flag, hopefully get as much traffic away from the Leviathan as possible, and start plotting that plotting that assault. I really hope Valhalla is here for the next game, because it'd be great to have his gear.
It's true. Well, we can send Graham an email and ask him if you guys can use his stuff, even if he's not around.
In any case, yeah, this one's interesting. It's so much different than the cards or so much of the rods, right? It's like there are so many moving parts, and we've got this plan that might be just utterly stupid, of like assaulting this like big nasty ghost ship.
Yeah, this is a little bit more intrigue and a little less dungeon crawl. But I thought it was nice to switch things up a bit.
Yeah, definitely.
It is.
It's cool to be outside of a wheelhouse.
I can sense that there's less for Murgatroyd and Vince to do. Either that or Mitch is just being extra quiet tonight.
He's doing work stuff. He said that he was going to be like around, but that he was doing some whatevers.
Oh, okay.
Shit was exploding at his work.
Oh, yikes. We know how that goes.
Well, it kind of seems like now is, unless I'm like, imagining how the game is going, that this is where we should probably wrap up and kind of metagame out our montage of setting up for the assault.
Yeah, I guess. So I guess the only important question is, do you guys take time tonight to sleep, right? It's probably like 3 or 4 in the morning at this point. And, you've got some planning to do, but do you also, sack out for a bit?
I think we should like sleep, but do shifts.
That's fine. It just makes the DC higher for your endurance checks to regain healing surges.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Vince is just coming back from rehab, so Vince probably has to sleep like a normal human tonight.
Yep.
Okay, well, I'm okay with that. So I guess
Jack's gonna heal himself and then go rest.
I'm wondering, all the times we've been in harbor, we can't see the Leviathan, right? It's not like out at the edge of vision, or
Yeah, during the day, if it's a clear day and you're high up, like up at Dante's uncle's villa, up on the deck with, I guess, none of you have a spyglass though, right? So
we have the telescoping from when we were fighting the undead.
you didn't return that to the general you borrowed it from?
Oh, that was his. Then we would have given it back.
Yeah, so, yeah, there's...
If he didn't just take it.
you know, you can see like a faint red smudge out there on the horizon that you can imagine is several ships with red sails.
Right.
But, you know, I forget what it said with the curvature of Earth. You can see like the distance you can walk in a day or two. So
Right.
ships don't have to be that far out before you can't see them with the naked eye.
And since it's only going to take like a couple hours to conjure up those 200 minutes, it's going to be like 3.5 hours. So we'll want to get started.
So like the length of a Tarantino movie.
Yeah.
Badoom-ch.
We'll want to get started setting that up in the afternoon. And nobody can take 20 on helping, so we'd have to roll like with a decent DC in order to boost Vince's Arcana to get up to 40. Or can you even help on a take 20?
Yeah, you can help. Right? You come in, you give advice, you do what he tells you to do. But if you fail, then you hinder.
Yeah.
But we'll do all those rolls on the day.
Yeah. And hopefully we can get like I guess that's the other thing is like, so for me, maybe we should do this over email, but for me, like the ideal is we set up, we try and get a little merchant ship, since all the merchant ships have been sacked by the Leviathan. So we get one of those and one or two of us stows away on that. We have someone flying with Valhalla's gear, the horses, which are ideally flying, but probably just on water, and someone, and the like backup ship that the king's gonna get a few people for us.
Yeah. So you'll have to get a merchant ship then. So you'll have to convince some merchants to use their ship as bait, which might not be that easy. Because a ship is a very expensive thing to replace if the crew of the Leviathan decide to take the bait and you lose the ship.
Well, oh yeah, I guess they just like blow it up and grab whatever barrels and crates float.
Or take the ship and add it to their fleet.
Right.
Right? Those are the kind of things that happen. Depending on what it is. If it's just a regular merchant ship and they're doing a protection scheme, they might just, board and ask for payment, and then if they pay, they'll let you go. Or they might rob you and then let you go. But if you guys spring a trap and they are incensed by it, then they might sink the ship and make the person pay. So it's the kind of thing where you're like, this has got to work, otherwise it's gonna, And how do you convince a businessman of that?
Yeah, put your own ship up as collateral.
You might.
How much do they cost?
I'll look that up for you.
It's
11,000 gold. Oh, that's for like a galleon.
If I get the chance between like now and when we start enacting the plan, I'm going to go to a local church and ask if I can pray over the recently deceased as a sign of respect, but also to give my power back for my axe.
Excellent. Yes. So
I'm not going to tell them about the axe, though.
Yeah. And they would be not super keen on. Right. You're just they'd be hesitant to let some random priest, especially one that's a minotaur, come in and pray over their recently deceased. So this type of boat here, which is called a keel boat, you can buy for 3,000 gold pieces. But you can see the size of it in that picture.
It's like a fishing boat.
Yeah.
Well, at the very least, it would probably get us close. It'd get us like in the water and close to them, right? I think our big thing now is figuring out the signals for springing all of our traps. Because to me, the ideal is like the boat goes out, we spring a trap on like the schooner that comes to rob us, and then they start fighting. At which point, the horse people and the boat of cavalry.
This next picture is the next size up of ship, and it's called a long ship, this size, where it actually has, a jib and several sails, and that's 10,000 gold pieces.
And what is the size Leviathan? Can we see that far out, or have we seen it?
Yeah,
we've been pretty close to it.
The Leviathan is like a frigate.
It's
like this
multi-floor and all that.
Yeah. This ship isn't supposed to like compare to it at all, right? This ship is just supposed to be like a little merchant ship that's going to get sacked and plundered by one of the Leviathan schooners, and ideally we could take out, or at least like commandeer one of the schooners, so we have a ship with some weaponry to engage in ship combat with the Leviathan while we try and attack it. You know what I mean?
I do. So there's a picture of a frigate. I had a great picture of the actual boat. I'll see if I can keep finding it. Nice one.
I like that one.
The blue one?
Yeah. More ghosty.
It's got like big red sails and all these cannons and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's just like think about the logistics of that. I don't know, does anyone think that the like stowing aboard the merchant ship is just like a waste of time? Is there something I'm not considering with that?
It depends if we can get enough ghost horses. I think if we just all hop on and
we can get up to 8 with the spell.
Is that enough for everyone?
Yeah. Like there's not likely to be 8 of us. I mean, we'd have Jack and Elliot and Metroid and Vince and Valhalla and Arwen and Hatim, and I think our max is 7. And even so, we'd have, like, Valhalla has those flying boots.
I think our max might be 8, but
if we set off all the things so that, they'll try to come into town because of all of the red lights and lanterns and flags. And then if we ghost ship over, hopefully they won't have time to come back and help.
Yeah, but, I mean, when we ran up the flag before, it was just the 2 guys that went out, right? I'm totally with you, like, we should do it to get as many of them away from the boat as possible, but, like, last time we ran up the red flag, they only sent the little skip. Or sloop, whatever Johnny said.
Maybe there's, like, a different flag configuration / lantern that would be, like, full frontal assault. Everything but the Leviathan.
Possibly.
Okay, that's enough.